Welcome everyone to the Bhakti Talk Podcast, where we discuss the spiritual path through the wisdom ways and practices of our beloved Guru, Swami Premodaya. We are your hosts. I'm Ananda, and there's Swami Sky. The Bhakti Talk podcast is presented by Jewel Tree Center for Spiritual Growth and Guidance. Visit our website at jeweltreecenter.org and be sure to like and subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on all social media platforms at Bhakti Talk. And today, this is already episode 16. And shout out to Ishan, who heard them all 3 times. Today's episode is the gratitude attitude. Gratitude.
The gratitude attitude.
Mm.
First, how about just a little gratitude? First of all, thank you. I love spending time with you. I love hearing you. I love being with you, and that we travel together on this wild journey that is the spiritual path through our beloved Guru, who we also want to express gratitude for. Without Swami Premodaya, all this wouldn't be possible. I wouldn't even have met you. And then I would also say I wouldn't even have met myself, because when I showed up to the doorstep of Swami Premodaya in 2004, I was lost, confused, and in a whole lot of suffering. So, in fact, I love to remind myself and other people of the story that I showed up saying that happiness is not real. There's just different degrees of unhappiness. And boy, was I wrong. And that is all from my guru. So in that sense, I get to know you. I get to grow on the spiritual path. And ultimately, I got to know myself through the wisdom ways of Swami Premodaya, through Guruji's grace. I say all has come from him, because there's things you kind of are born with, you are born with, that are even inherent to your being, whether it's your own intelligence, your creativity, whatever it is. But I was so confused from the past and so conditioned that I didn't even really have access to that. And so really everything came from my beloved Guru, Swami Premodaya. So if we're going to have the gratitude attitude, which, by the way, is a title that was given to a meditation from Swami Premodaya, which you can access on premodayatv.com. It's an incredible meditation. It's completely transformative. It's an audio guided meditation that gives you the whole spiritual path and the full understanding of gratitude. So all of that, in my view, goes to Guruji, because it's all come from him. So thank you, Swami Premodaya.
Yeah. And it's a great way to start. Thank you, Swami Premodaya. And also everything what you said about being confused, being lost.
Yeah.
It's impossible to have any gratitude. And it's not a horrible thing, but it's impossible when you're completely in your own loop, when you're completely self-obsessed. There is no way out. And pondering this episode, I really saw for myself, wow, yeah, this is so essential. It is absolutely essential. Gratitude is the way out.
And you make an excellent point, because how do you really live gratitude? How do you really see, understand, experience, know gratitude? How do you have a gratitude attitude if your life is experienced as suffering? It's very hard to be like, gratitude.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. We understand that you can be in tremendous pain, but the gratitude is an essential aspect of the spiritual path. And that's why I wanted to start the way we are, which is, how many days go by that we don't even express our gratitude? We really need to learn and practice expressing what we're grateful for, and seeing what you can and honestly should be grateful for.
Yeah, there's a great quote by Swami Premodaya, where he states that gratitude is the coin of the spiritual realm, where you start, where you end, the practice, the feeling, the goal, the refuge, the antidote, and the correct measure.
Yeah. In other words, if you grow and go on the spiritual path, it will increase. When your awareness increases, it will include, if you're really seeing rightly, it'll inevitably include gratitude. And
Mhm.
as also Swami Premodaya teaches in that meditation, and when I say teach, it's like he really guides you to where you see it for yourself.
Mhm.
But they're really meditations of contemplation and understanding. When you contemplate gratitude, you start living and seeing gratitude. Humility arises, and it occurred to me because I was also thinking about this episode. The best example I can think of, if it, in my view, and I don't know why anybody would argue, but I think it would be pretty hilarious if somebody did. You're welcome to. One of the single best demonstrations of gratitude that I'm aware of is Thich Nhat Hanh.
Mm.
He certainly taught mindfulness. He certainly taught compassion, but he went so far that he was living gratitude. Every step was grateful to every being, to earth, to beyond, to the cosmos. Every breath, everything was, he was a living embodiment of gratitude, which taken all the way was a kind of humility. He just was the embodiment of gratitude. Everything. I mean, even his writings, his books, and it was about, eating with mindful, but it really was with gratitude. That
Mm.
that mindfulness taken all the way is a kind of gratefulness just for that piece of bread, just for that glass of water, milk. All of it was gratitude in action.
Mm. Yeah, and in that example, Thich Nhat Hanh is also a great example of being completely transparent.
Mhm.
There is no one there, and Guruji also, when we say Guruji, we mean our guru, our beloved guru, Swami Premodaya. He
Mhm.
also, because he used the word now a couple of times, humility, gratitude equals humility.
Mhm.
They're synonymous. They're exactly the same, and it is doing the exercise like being no humility, yeah, of course no gratitude can occur at all, and no gratitude, yeah, of course there's no way to be humble at all.
Mhm.
So it's very clear how they are the same. And also, talking about one or the other is the same thing. Humility is also, we said, gratitude is the way out of ego, the way out of self-obsession. Of course, humility being the same, when you're completely humble, when you really see your situation for what it is, who you are, how tiny. In the meditation you referred to, the gratitude attitude, which is absolutely fantastic. There's one part where Guruji talks about seeing yourself as a grain of sand, as an
Mhm.
actual grain of sand. And doing the meditation, at one point, I actually sensed myself as a grain of sand. And a grain of sand also can not realize it is a grain of sand. The grain of sand is in the same situation as we are. A grain of sand can complain about, now the water is coming, and it's so hot, and um, because that is also what we do. We are so distracted with everything that's not according to our preferences,
Mhm.
that, and if you are only living for your preferences, if you're only living for your thoughts, what you want, what you desire, then of course you don't see the actuality of what is actually here, the amazing, incredible, completely unknowable gift of life, the whole given aspect of it. It's yeah.
There's a great quote. Sorry, I couldn't hear that last
Go
thing you
ahead.
said.
Yeah, astonishing, astonishing.
Astonishing. Speaking of astonishing, there's
Oh,
a great quote that I love from this meditation, which Guruji is led into gratitude and the understanding of gratitude and how it leads to humility, just like we said. And then he says, experience what it really is to sit in humility. countless stars, unmeasurable space, planets beyond counting. Who knows how many universes, how many worlds, how many realities are out there? Vastness beyond any human mind could ever try to comprehend. Eternity stretching endlessly, infinity with no beginning and no end. How can there be any stance other than our complete and utter humility in the face of that mystery?
Mm.
And that's what we mean by the grain of sand. It's not a grain of sand as if you're lower or lesser or higher. That's what human beings do. Reality, the universe doesn't do higher or lower. It's just grain of sand, blade of grass, human being, all the same. But
Mm.
that quote in from that meditation is just, you could just take that and just ponder that and really get the vastness, the bigness, the endlessness, just the hugeness of,
Mhm, mhm,
you can't even really put it into words because it's not graspable. But
mhm,
when you get a sense of how big it, how ungraspable it is, it brings humility, and it brings a gratitude for, we actually need to practice being grateful. When's the last time you've thanked your pinky toe? When's the last time you've been grateful for your joints that are working?
mhm,
When's the last time you've actually, that's just what we can see. There's also everything that's unseen, just on a cellular level, how much everything's being taken care of.
mm,
We use this example the other day. It's like all I do is eat. The body takes care of everything else,
mm,
converting it to energy and all the different aspects, and just how much is truly taken care of, and how vast existence is beyond human comprehension. And it just gives you that grain of sand, the proper perspective. It's not all about you, self-obsession feeling.
Yeah, and when you read that quote, it struck me again how the essential nature of gratitude and humility, how it's tied to already everything we have been speaking about up to this point in the podcast. You can tie it to how to control the mind. Our
Mhm.
previous ones. You are not your mind. You're not your I. You're not your ego. Those are all programs running, and humility and gratitude actually just bring you there. Because also the excerpt you just read, yes, that is your actual situation. The situation is the vastness. That's where we
Mhm.
are, and that's it. And all the rest can be enjoyed. Yeah, it should be enjoyed, and um, shouldn't be taken as reality at
Mhm.
all.
Yeah, one of the main ways this shows up now, as certainly as a global culture with the internet as what people relate to the most rather than each other, is in complaint.
Mhm,
So when you're talking about controlling the mind, or like, how do you put gratitude into practice? How do how does it actually, how do you implement that to it actually control the mind? It's, well, the mind is self-focused, and one of its main obsessions is complaint. And
mhm,
that's how it basically runs our lives. It runs our lives by being in a habitual negative complaint activity. It's all the time complaining, 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 complaining. And one of the things behind that is this idea that you can make the perfect experience. You can make the perfect experience if you get all your preferences, all your ideas, everything, all your desires met. That will create the perfect human condition, and you'll have no complaints. Well, that's just not how life works,
mhm,
because everybody prefers to not be in pain, and everybody prefers to not have loss and heartbreak. And heartbreak and loss are part of a human life. You will lose everything. We all die. Everything goes in the end in some way or another. So there is no situation that doesn't exist. That is a fantasy sold by the world just in order to keep you buying more things to create a comfortable situation. But that comfort is actually masked discomfort, because everybody's uncomfortable uh, um, who isn't living as themselves. That is that is a true discomfort. You can't have the perfect temperature and mattress and the best pillow if you're not living as you. You're always going to be. It's a permanent dissatisfaction. The only satisfaction is in reality. Is in, we use the term God, or in truth, or in knowing yourself and being your real self, living as your real self. And guess what? You do any of those things, and they're all the same thing. But if you do any one of those, whatever phrase works for you, your life will still include a lot of discomfort, a lot of pain, and complete loss. So even in complete and total realization, cosmic, everything still goes away. All of this appearance definitely disappears when you die.
Mhm.
So the fact of the matter is, we have a very limited time in this human experience, or this human appearance. It's very short. If you look at eternity, which you can't because it's just too big, but you can get a sense of it. This is a tiny, tiny, as Guruji says, it's just a little blip. It's just a really, really quick. And the best thing to do is to live that as you, as your real self, and go towards the divine, go Godward. What one way that Guruji says it is, what you grow in you is what you take with you.
Mm.
That you're not going to take any of your possessions. I made this joke the other day. No matter what you're buried with, it doesn't go with you.
Mhm.
So you're not going to take any of your possessions, but you can grow your being. You're not going to take your memories. Your memories don't, whatever you think has been your experience, because our experience is filtered through all kinds of conditionings. So that's why I say, what you think is your experience, that doesn't go with you. But what you grow in you does. Your
Mhm.
awareness, if you grow your being, if you actually are uh, turned towards the divine, towards the infinite, rather than obsessed about the daily weather, uh, that's what goes with you. And so that's what we can be grateful for, is in this life, whether it's include lots of pain or just a little bit. Everybody's life includes pain and pleasure, and but that's not satisfying. What's satisfying is what you really grow in you, what you really, when you know the truth, when you have a flavor of reality, that's what brings ultimate satisfaction.
Mm. Yeah, it's a good point. I remember first time hearing Swamiji talk about, and Swamiji is also another word for our beloved guru, Swami Premodaya. When first time I heard him talk about the you think of as you, because he
Mhm.
talked about memories, it's not going with you. It's gonna
Mhm.
be completely gone when you die, and that was a shock when I first heard it, because yes, of course, you continue after you die. I always had a sense of it, but I always thought, like so many people, that this actual sense of who I am will go with me. But
Mhm.
then hearing that, and then first not wanting to hear it, and then actually like, okay, accepting it, like slowly but surely accepting it, then of course it it becomes clear that what you said, that what you grow in you, going into the depth, that is what is important. All the rest, all my experience, everything I do, fine, great, wonderful, I can enjoy it all, no problem, but it's not important. It's
No.
part of the illusion, and all the knowing, all the controlling, all the doing is all a kind of grasping, and all this grasping, um, we if we keep clinging, then humility and gratitude cannot come. Gratitude is also saying like, hey, I give up, I'm thankful for all of it, and
Mhm.
it's all fine. Humility comes in that too. It's all fine, it's all perfect.
So this is actually a really good description. Thank you for saying what you've said. Because your sense of you has changed. That's part of the proof that doesn't go with you. Your sense of you is different. Oh yeah. But gratitude is as the gratitude attitude, as an attitude. It's more like the atmosphere. You've come up with this before, and I think it's such a beautiful way, because people get atmosphere, and you referred to it. For those who are formally initiated disciples, your experience had become like the guru sphere, and I guarantee you that's the experience of other disciples of other gurus. Or if you're really in practice maybe one of the traditional religions, if that really becomes your life, then it's kind of like your whole atmosphere is that. Your whole, the guru sphere is where, the guru is kind of the wafting, through the air, and it's the atmosphere. And when gratitude becomes your attitude, the gratitude attitude, when that's what you grow, that becomes basically the atmosphere that you're breathing from. So it's not like you're thinking it or you're putting on an overlay. It's you've done the work. So again, I'll go back to what I was saying a couple of minutes ago. For most of us, we kind of start with what our atmosphere is complaint. So everything we're doing, everybody we involve with, everywhere we go, everyone we talk to, there's always the air of complaint. It's always complaining. And there's only really a few complaints. It's only a few. It's basically, I'm tired. It's basically, I don't have the energy. I don't have the money. I don't, there's only a few complaints, even though it seems like there's a list. It's always, not good enough. It's some sort of criticism, and so the complaints as an atmosphere. That's a really heavy negative atmosphere. It's very hard to grow your awareness when you're breathing the atmosphere of constant complaint.
Mm-hmm.
But when you actually do the work to get out of the complaint habit, which is completely self-focused, complaint is just a self-obsession, ego trick to keep you distracted by nonsense instead of ever getting to anything real at all. And then it keeps you plugged into whatever the conventional system is, so that they can keep you as a machine that feeds the social mechanism. So, but if you can get out of all that, and actually one way to do that, like we're saying, is you can come at gratitude a few different ways, and we recommend all of them because it takes all of them, which is you stop the complaint habit. So you get rid of what's in the way, and then you come at it from the positive side as well, and actually work on and express your gratitude. Just as we have no problem expressing our complaint, you really start expressing your gratitude, because it takes work. And so one thing we're saying here, because this is all a trick, is if you really learn the language of gratitude, if you really live the atmosphere of gratitude, then you will be communicating love. So love will become your language. So if you really want to increase your love language, however it shows up, because I know there's different ways, gratitude will be your love language. So if you make gratitude your attitude, and if you make that your atmosphere, what you're really doing is everywhere you're going, all you're doing is expressing love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's also in the gratitude attitude. People only say two things, and guru is the practical guru, and the efficient guru.
That's why we call him the practical guru, is because of how effective he is. And part of his effectiveness is he's so patient that oftentimes he doesn't say something until he's really, really exhausted. So he said he spent about 3 years watching and listening. And he mentions it in the meditation, the gratitude attitude, how people are only really saying two things. They're either saying, I'm sorry, or they're saying, I love you. And I'll let you figure out which one complaint is. I'll give you a clue. It's not, I love you. So do you want to walk around constantly going, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry? Or do you want to maybe start saying, I love you? I guarantee you, if you come at gratitude by increasing your gratitude, you'll start increasing your love. And if you increase your love, you'll increase your gratitude. So you can come at it from both sides, but you'll end up in the same spot. and we highly recommend it. Imagine that nobody's going to be a Thich Nhat Hanh. No, we're not suggesting that, but we could do better than the complaint as our main atmosphere. It's kind of like Pigpen from the Charlie Brown, that he always has a cloud around him. It's like, you want your cloud to be made of complaint, or do you want your cloud to be, maybe something that would lift you a little higher than the mud?
Yeah, and what it actually takes is being honest with yourself and sober, seeing your situation. And it is essentially everyone's situation. What we read about how insignificant, small we are, doesn't mean we don't mean anything. And I think it's clear that it's not something derogatory.
It doesn't mean that you're meaningless, but you mean as much as everything else.
Yes.
Everything that exists is essential because it exists. So you exist and it's essential, but it's not essential as in higher than. You're not higher than a squirrel.
It's very, and it's the right use of the word, it's very weird how human beings became how they became
ingrates.
Yeah,
it's very weird how human beings became complete ingrates, who are completely self-obsessed, who have what Guruji calls species arrogance, that they actually think they're better than everybody else. And that then you also have, your location arrogance. If you're born in this city, you're better than other people. If you're born in this part of the city, you're better than. It's like all of this is complete. Yes, it's really weird. I'm Guruji studies history way more than I do, but I mean, this quote unquote technological era, to me, we've gone so far backwards. We've lost complete, awareness of the fact that we're dependent on seaweed because it produces the most oxygen on the planet. It's like, we're so dumb. We've gone so far backwards. How do I spell dumb, Siri? What is your name again? Yeah, exactly. Spell it by your name. It's a bad joke.
No. Took me a while because I'm dumb. Oh.
Yeah, it's very funny, and ultimately that can't be a distraction. So this is how the complaint starts. It'll there. If you look around, there's something to be catastrophize over. And yeah, humans are wacky and they're weird, but there's no reason to fall into complaint and judgment. And it's okay if you recognize something as really stupid, and that doesn't have to change or destroy or ruin the gratitude attitude. You can still see what you can grow your gratitude by looking. Just look. If you look at your life, even if you're in poverty, even if you have medical difficulty, the fact that you're here at all, the fact that you're breathing, it is incredible. It should be impossible.
Yeah, I notice it. It actually makes me very silent. Humility and gratitude.
Well, that's also another. This is why I love talking to you. It's another good reminder for all of us who are listening to you that if you're in a bunch of chatter, you're probably missing some of the gratitude. So we tend to lower and one way that we keep ourselves unaware is all the noise. And it's just noise. You want more gratitude? You want to dip more into the gratitude attitude? Settle. Relax. Stop talking.
And mainly stop talking to yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Probably start talking to other people, because what we do most of the time is we spend the time talking to ourselves inside ourselves. So it's a good reminder. It's become more quiet, and gratitude will have a place to arise.
Hmm.
And try to express from there. Try to speak to and relate. It actually takes practice in the beginning because we're all trained in the ways of unquiet.
Hmm.
This is the atmosphere we're usually in is one of constant chatter.
Yeah.
So it's another good point. If you want to increase your gratitude, make some space for it by getting quiet.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, there's plenty of other meditations for modern times from our beloved Swami Premodaya. Um, uh, Ending your ceaseless mind chatter is one, but also meditate on joy. Brahmadaya also takes the listener through very, very easy and simple steps, talking about how we're constantly meditating on what we don't like,
Yes.
and I don't like this, and then a whole story gets attached to it, a whole set of beliefs kick in, a whole set of preferences, wishes, wants, and that is also not the way towards humility or
Yes.
gratitude. That's another trip into storyland. It seems that no, it doesn't seem gratitude and humility, we said it already in this episode, gratitude and humility center and get you out of la la land, out of story
Mhm.
time, out of the whole worldly structure of uh, complaining, thinking,
Self
belief,
obsession.
self-obsession,
Yeah.
carousel. Yeah.
Mhm. And then from that, you can actually learn to express. This is another practice that you actually start learning how to express what's right and good with yourself and what's right and good with other people. Because what we're usually doing in such a competition based culture that it is now is, part of the complaint is also criticizing, it's also competition, all this nonsense. It's like from that quiet, from developing your actual gratitude in your humility. There's another great recording on premidiatv.com, which is develop humility ability. So when you're growing these things, one of the things that you practice is you practice expressing what's right and good, because we're so used to expressing everything that's wrong, everything that's, or that we perceive as wrong, or we've been taught as wrong, or everything. And it's like you actually need to learn what's right and good with you and express from that. Again, these are all ways to live from love. This is how the expression of love is lived. And starting from a place of gratitude and humility allows that to be so rich, and people love it. It's good. It's good for you and it's good for others. But we usually enter the spiritual path with all the ideas about what's wrong with us, and then we're usually so good at thinking we can identify what's wrong in others. If you have that inner critic, it goes out, it goes in, whatever. All that to me is part of the complaint habit. Whether it's criticism, well, it's all kind of the same ball of nonsense that's given to us. Um, in the various forms, usually from parents and school and and whatever we watch. But all that goes away with practice. You can do the opposite. You can live free of all of that nonsense.
Mhm.
That's the gratitude attitude is really the atmosphere of freedom. Imagine being free of all that crap.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and it's true. The practice of how gratitude and humility are actual expressions of love, or make it
Mhm.
possible for you to actually express love. Um, Hearing you talk, I just realized how I start to call mainly children. I often work with children, and there are so many. I most of the time, lots of times, I can't remember their names. So I started to call them all sweetheart. And it is, and I actually mean it. It started like, oh, I don't know your name, so sweetheart. But I actually do mean it. And I actually picked it up from a Belgian movie director. He died, and he was very known and also a bit ridiculed for it, for calling everyone sweetheart. And in an interview I read once, that he was like, just, I don't remember names, everyone's a sweetheart, so I call everyone a sweetheart. And I picked it up from him. It's like, okay, that's a good trick, because people like to be called sweetheart. So, and it is
I keep referring to Premodaya TV today, but he has another one called "Be Your Own Sweetheart." so we'll have to do that one day.
yeah.
I have another quote here from Guruji towards the end of the gratitude attitude meditation, where he says, "Start to see gratitude and humility not as nice human virtues, not as desirable traits or qualities to be developed because they have some intrinsic benefit and make you a nicer person. Certainly they will, but it is more significant than that. It is the very fabric of reality. It is the very breath of the divine. Start to see gratitude and humility as the highest possibilities, as the stones the path is made of." So we're not just talking about, even though it's called the gratitude attitude, we're not just talking about attitudes. We're not just talking about feelings. We're not just talking about a sense, or we're talking the literal. Look, Rex is coming to say hi. Hi, buddy. Speaking of gratitude, love that guy. But it's the actual stones of the path. And if you want to progress further and further faster, then develop gratitude and humility.
Mm-hmm. And it is actual openness.
Mm-hmm.
When you're truly grateful, when you're truly humble, you can only be open. Mm-hmm. It's because in actual humility, there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to hold back. It's all here. It's all it's a state of having given everything away also. So it is, again, wow, it's mind-blowing how it's tied to so many things. It's tied to surrender. Mm-hmm. It's tied to joy. It's tied to
and the way you're describing it, again, is so beautiful and helpful. Thank you for doing that. Because if you think about the opposite, what are we talking about today? About whether it's, we summarize it as like conventionality, or mm-hmm. if all of those things are closed. If you're in the negative complaint habit, if you're constantly self-obsessed, that's all a kind of closing. That's all a kind of boxing everything in. It's all a kind of file category labeling. It's closed. It's the opposite of openness. And so one of the ways you're making it clear for us is that the gratitude attitude is a kind of openness. If you actually turn yourself towards, if you actually see your real situation, then gratitude and humility arise. And the opposite of that is a kind of closedness. And that's where the suffering all comes from. And I can't remember the exact quote, but it's all of your suffering has come from your non-acceptance. Also, it's from Swami Premodaya. All suffering has come from non-acceptance, some form of that. And so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a kind of closeness. And then if you actually open, if you actually have an openness, if you actually see your actual position, where you're really standing, what you're really breathing, then humility and gratitude are what come naturally. Mm-hmm. And that will take you so far on the path. And every path, it doesn't matter what the tradition is, it doesn't matter who you're with, the teacher or the teaching, every path includes gratitude and humility.
Mm. And the closeness is the identifying yourself with an I, actually. Mm-hmm. I am a separate object. Then we get into duality land, and humility just breaks that all open. And then actuality is, Swamiji has talked about this also a lot, see yourself for the vast spiritual being you are.
Yes.
And you are everything, and and nothing. It's all these dualities in words. They're all completely interconnected.
Yes.
Yes, so you're completely nothing, and you're absolutely everything. And how Guruji also explains it is, nothing is a higher seeing than your everything. Great, it's all great. Your everything, great, but your nothing includes your everything. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just letting a little bit of. We don't have to fill every moment, although this is a podcast and we're talking to each other. We could do a silent podcast. We could probably do that for a good hour. I certainly would enjoy it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Gratitude and humility. It's an essential. It's part of why Guruji is the practical guru. Practical means effective. Well, if the stones of the path are made out of gratitude and humility, then it makes sense to grow both.
Mhm.
If this is part of every path, no matter what your path is, this is why Guruji is so effective. He just so simple and so direct and so to the point. This is an aspect of the path. You don't have to get rid of every aspect of every suffering and of everything of every you always ever did. You just start growing gratitude and humility, and it takes care of everything else. It's a more direct route. It's faster. It's more effective. That's why Guruji is so practical, is because of how effective it is. Grow your humility and grow your gratitude, and you will develop humility. And increase your humility, you'll grow your gratitude. And that's an essential aspect that has a purifying effect of burning off so much of the path. It's like, do that now.
Yeah.
Practice that now. And you can sit down and just list, what are you actually grateful for? Look at your life. What do you've kind of forgotten about, because we're adaptations machines that are very fickle. We kind of forget there's somebody in your life that has had a profound effect on your life that we forget about. And there's something that happened 6 years ago that set the whole course of your life that it is on now in action. It's like, actually sit down. Partly because what we do is we sit down and we actually cultivate the complaint. We're
Mm.
already doing the work. We just have all of the society and all of the people at work to help us cultivate our complaint. So you have to sit down and actually work to do the opposite. But boy, is it worth it. And once you develop that again and again, that's like Guruji says at the end of that meditation. He says, the day can come for you when every single day is a greater gratitude than the day before. And when that day comes, then every life you touch and existence itself becomes grateful for you.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's literally possible, but that takes the work. So that seems worth it. Either that, or you can complain about Betty Sue at work, who was just a problem.
Mm.
I don't know if anybody uses the name Betty Sue anymore, but it's like, what do you want to develop? Because you are actually developing something anyway. It's what you are, what you meditate on, and what you meditate on is where you spend your time and energy already. So you're already growing something. So why not plant gratitude and humility as part of your practice? 'Cause-
Yeah, and humility, just thinking about it now, okay, why is humility wise? And it's always a great answer. You're gonna die.
yeah.
Um,
Your time is in fact limited, and you are going to die.
yeah.
And do you want to again, I really am enjoying this today. Another way you're putting it is, do you want to die with your complaint habit to be the main thing you've developed? As you're on your deathbed, do you want to be sitting in complaint, or do you want to be sitting in gratitude? How do you think it's going to go when you die? Which ones do you think is going to be better for your soul?
I'm wondering if there are people, or if there have been people who died arrogant. That's probably.
Who died arrogantly?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's probably most of us. It's probably more people than not. How dare death come for me? I defy your coming for me. Yeah, but that's again, it's a really simple way to put it. How do you want to experience death? Do you want to just be in a constant complaint habit, and then that's how yep, then you're dead?
And
Or do you want to actually develop gratitude and humility? Right, does it seem like, because opening is kind of a relaxed, it's kind of an acceptance. Gratitude is a kind of built-in acceptance. What, are you going to go kicking and screaming, or are you going to go like you're on a lazy river? Right?
yeah,
That's another good way to put it. And I'm sure
and,
hoping for lazy river.
yeah, and it actually, what is very common to hear when people die, especially when people die when they are not expected to die, when they're still quite young.
Yeah.
Here, so often, it's not fair.
Right.
It's not fair. What are you talking about?
It's like the story of Frank Sinatra, who I mean, could you have a more gifted, privileged life? His life was an endless privilege, and when he was getting towards death, he just was like, if I could just have one more year, if I could just have one more year. It's like, dude, you've done it all. Like, the only thing you haven't done is become prepared to die, and that's not wise. It's good to know death is coming and prepare for it. One excellent way to prepare for death is to develop gratitude and humility, and that's how you have a good death. A good death means, any degree of awareness, and that which you grow in you take with you. Well, that's what you if you can do that, that's a good death. And if you have a good death, that means you had a good life. So here's somebody who had every privilege life could possibly offer, every gift life could possibly have. And he's saying, I didn't have a good death because I'm not prepared to die at all. Well, it's good to be prepared to die. And one way to make that optimal is by developing gratitude and humility.
Hmm.
Woo! Well, I'm definitely grateful for you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have this podcast. I'm amazed that I, I'll be endlessly grateful for the fact that a guru even exists, and the
Hmm.
fact that somehow I have a guru, and that my guru is Swami Premodaya. And then with that, I can't believe you get a sangha. Like we have actual sangha family. You're my guru brother. I'm very grateful for this podcast and the fact that we get to talk together. And then even more mind blowing is we mentioned it a few times. So Premodaya TV, which is our free spiritual wisdom library, which captures 20 years of Swami Premodaya's teaching work. I'm grateful that I have the cognitive ability to even have these conversations. And here I am in a body, and we have this incredible temple in Los Angeles, and you're the director of Jewel Tree Brussels. So I mean, it just blows me away that any of this is even possible. And like, if I heard about it from somebody else, if somebody else was telling me the story, I would literally be going, "Wow, good for you." But it turns out it's us. Like,
Yeah.
what? We get to have all this? Like, I mean, we got high ceilings and stained glass, and I get a temple dog, and we get to come together and talk about the spiritual path and grow our understanding. And all of
And
that could be said in a much more direct way, which is, I love you very much.
I love you very much too. And it's indeed all coming from our beloved guru.
Yeah.
It's unfathomable. I would have never, I couldn't even think up
No.
this, what's you, us, having a sangha, actual support, actual fellowship, people who walk the path with you, people you can actually speak to, relate to. You're not an island. It's all us, all hand in hand, going Godward, and it's
And
yes,
Ishan, who listens
and
to
each
these
one,
podcasts. So we said hello to him at the beginning. We'll see if he listens all the way to the end. So we'll say hello to him at the end. Let's also not forget Alana, who's helping us behind the
yeah,
scenes here and helping produce these new episodes that kind of make sure we get together and actually have something to talk about. Thank you so much.
cheers. Do you have something to add, Ilana?
It has been such a privilege to listen to you both. I love this topic, and I love to hear you speak. I love your chemistry together. This is such a privilege. I'm so grateful.
Well, thank you. I look forward to doing it again. We've been fairly successful at putting these out about once a month, and we'll continue that. And it's a tremendous privilege. Thank you. Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you. I will take us out.
Great.
The Bhakti Talk Podcast is presented by Jewel Tree Center for Spiritual Growth and Guidance. Find us on Jewel Tree Center's website, where you can check out our calendar of upcoming spiritual growth events, transformational programs, and get access to a free spiritual wisdom library of over 650 full-length recordings from Swami Premodaya's wisdom work. Visit jeweltreecenter.org. Thank you for listening. We give once again gratitude to you and honor your spiritual path. Thank you. Thank you to our beloved Sangha for your support, and a most ecstatic thank you to our beloved Guru, Swami Premodaya. Your wisdom ways and practices continue to be the transformational light on the path. Jai Jai,
Yay, Jai Jai Swami.
Swami Premodaya. Jai Jai.
Okay, buddy. Thank you. Good job. Right there. Yeah. Oh, thank you.